Hey guys, welcome in to the rebranding Squirrel Snipers Esoteric Lounge, an esoteric discussion. Snipers are going to take everyone on a bit of a journey. So I hope you guys are prepared, and I hope you're settled in and ready to talk. I'm bringing up the desktop real quick so I can read your comments. Largely, I'll be letting Sniper talk, and then I'll be just interjecting here and there, reading some comments. Hi, Dolly. If you're enjoying the channel content, hit the like, show support, and share this out. Subscribe. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. Sissy, how are you? So, we'll see when Sniper's ready to head up. Let me send him the link real quick. Make it a little bit easier. So, Dolly, Sissy, I'm curious about your watch hours now that you've been going live. Have you noticed jump? Just send him a link. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the regular morning live stream. The afternoon, we have Beth Gear. Beth is an author, teacher, student of A Course in Miracles. Says he's tired but grateful. I can relate. Beth is the author of 3 books, all of which deal with A Course in Miracles in some ways. And the second one in particular, though, Course in Miracles, but she sort of checks it against a backdrop of information she received from a psychic visit with a extraterrestrial. What does she mean by psychic visit? I don't rightly know. We'll find out. We can ask her tomorrow. I don't know how much she'll want to talk about her second book. She has a new book coming out beginning of next year. Which isn't too far away. 2 more months, guys. Well, a little over 2 more months. But November, December. We're officially, what, today, halfway through. How many days does October have in it? Another jump. That's the beauty of live streams, Sissy. And you're getting more and more viewers. And people are playing your playlist. 1,220. Awesome. What did we say? I think you could get there by New Year's. Some say I'm overly optimistic about things. Hey, Lady Sky, how are you? Oh, by March. You know what? I'm backing it up. I'm backing it up. Yeah, I remember we said by the equinox, right? Well, what do you think? You want to do it sooner? How about we speed this manifestation process up a little bit? How about instead, we do the work and put it in God's hands, right? The great prayer. Lady Sky says, I'm doing all right, Yogi. I'm glad to hear that. How's the headache today? The great prayer from the Course of Miracles is, I will make no decisions on my own today. What would you have me do today? Where should I go? What should I say? Our role is to show up and allow ourselves to be directed. Sissy So our Lady Sky says it's finally gone now. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that, Lady Sky. Spring into surrender. Good aim. You know what? What we want is usually a little more complicated, a little more convoluted, and generally less than a divine plan, an inspired plan. So why settle for less? Thing is, I've often thought that I was there. I was at that point of surrender. I wrote about that this morning. Really, hey Coco, I'm less concerned about surrendering now as I am and having a prayerful life. And the prayer is always God's will, not mine. When I'm on point, I'm doing pretty good, Lady Sky. Thanks for asking. Hey, Richard. Richard says, good evening. Yo, good evening to you, my friend. How was your day? So, Lady Sky, I believe I have a guest coming up on Friday at 1. I think it's at 1. So, if you want to come up and sing, it would probably be in the evening. If that's okay. Zipper says 5 minutes, Eric. Please just drive home. You got it. Coco says his prayer is usually fix it now. I got you on that. I've been there too. I've been there too. Even recently, even knowing better, and I still find it's not regression. It's fluidity. Hey, Estat. Sissy says sniper. Woohoo! Almost that time. Absolutely. Richard says hey to sniper. So remember, this is the Squirrel Sniper Esoteric Lounge. He's going to be talking letters. He's going to take us to a journey through the alphabet. You know where they got the name Elf? I'll give you a hint. I have it tattooed on the back of my neck. Tiny, tiny. My smallest tattoo. Richard says, how was your walk today? Yogi, did you see any critters on your travels? I did not. Amazingly, I did not. But the moon was absolutely awesome. It's going into that crescent phase. So I took a nice shot at the moon. And as the sun was coming up, I took a film clip of the sunrise and clouds reflected on my little pond. Richard says, I got a name tattooed on my chest. Wow, that's a big tattoo. Make chocolate chip balls. CS. Straight across the chest. You had a rough day, Coco? Sorry to hear about that. You want to share anything? These guys would only be able to sing for 30 minutes, though, because Mom gets off work at 4:30 a.m. Gotcha. We could do a couple songs. Yeah, hopefully I'll upload it to my camera, my phone tomorrow, and I'll put it out there. Hey, Jamie. Jamie, how are you? Coco says, no regrets. Just really disappointed. Well, we got a new day coming up. Hey, Selma. Jamie saying hi to everyone, saying hi to Richard. Richard says, sorry to hear that, Coco. Hope you feel better soon. Me too. Anyone needs prayers, just put it out there. I'm happy to pray for and with anyone. If it's saying late in the day, Yogi, it will only be 30 minutes. Okay, that's fine, Lady Sky. We don't even know. We don't even need to fully go that long if you don't want to. We can just hit a couple songs, you and I. Someone says Sniper's coming up. Yep, he said 5 minutes, so he should be here shortly. Coca says, thanks, Mint. Just trying not to ball all day. Yeah, so it was a really tough day for you. Hey, Coco, how about we ring the bell for you? It's a Tibetan meditation bell. Follow the sound of the ring. Let it settle. Know that we're ringing it for love. We're sending it out as a prayer. Each ring, 3 times, we're sending it out as a little prayer for you, my friend. For you, Coco. Richard says, I get that, Coco. I've had days like that too. Lady Sky says, okay, one song is I Got You, Babe, Yogi, Sunny, and Cher. Yes, for sure. Someone says, hi, Star Sissy Sis. Coco says, thank you. You're welcome, my friend. Appreciate you guys being here. Lady Sky says, wahoo, wahoo, indeed. We're going to have fun. I have to reach out to our friend, Miss Flipper, as I might need to rearrange our schedule for Mondays. Nope, I don't. So Monday's going to be a good day. Monday, we have Miss Flipper come up. Monday Miracles with Miss Flipper. We talk all things Course Miracles, her and I. And then in the evening, this time, Martin Patet, who is a meditation teacher, Course Miracles student. Him and I share that in common as I'm a meditation teacher as well. Reach out, guys, if anyone wants to learn how to meditate. I'm happy to help. Hey, Heavenly. Heavenly, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you. How's the hand? It says, can't wait to hear it, Lady Sky. Well, I can't wait to hear Lady Sky. My version of my half of the song might not be, makes me a little nervous. You know, we've all heard Lady Sky sing. She has a lovely voice. So your boyfriend's here, Selma. Lady Sky says, Yogi has his pen waving time. I do. I'm about to get scolded. I'm about to get scolded by Selma. You know what she's going to say. Happy Wednesday to you, Selma. There you go. No pen wagon. Sorry. I will keep it to a minimum. It says it could be the collab the channel's been waiting for. Lady Sky and Yogi. It could be. It could be. We might rock the house down. We could change it. We could do a reggae version of I Got You, Babe. We could do a country western version of I Got You, Babe. We could do a punk rock version of I Got You, Babe. Heavy metal. Which one do you guys want to hear? Someone says, I just did it. What did I just do? If you're saying I just waved my pen, you're absolutely right. But that was the last time. I promise you. I definitely will not do it again. What do you mean I waved it? Wasn't me. Vince says he put a spell on us with the pen wave. No, that would be if I use the Michael Burkeen decorative, hand carved, varnished and signed by the creator. If I waved the spoon, the decorative spoon, that would be. But I'm not waving the spoon. I'm wagging the pen. See the difference? This is the spoon. I'm not wagging. This is the pen. All right. Any minute, guys. I promise you. It'll be enough of me. Sniper will be up. At least it's not a back scratcher. I can't promise that it has never not been used as a back scratcher. I can't make that promise. This guy says, did you take your pill, Yogi? Not yet. I got about half an hour, and I'll take it. Hey, now that I'm thinking about it, you know what? A couple collabs singing might not be a bad idea. I wouldn't mind trying to sing something with Richard. What do you think, Richard? What could you and I sing together? Someone says, I know Lady Sky. So, as well as, Course in Miracles students, I want to get some more yogis to come up. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to reach out. If he comes up, and he said he would, but I have to reach out to his publisher or his agent. That's how big he is. He has an agent. Sorry, guys. You ever heard of Lama Suradas? Lama Suradas. Tibetan Buddhist. I might be able to get him coming up in the next several months.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Sniper's Esoteric Lounge.
Let me just sort this out then. Hang on. Is that any better? Can you hear me?
A little low.
A little bit low. Hang on. How about that?
I think that's better.
Is that better?
Yep. Everyone's saying hi to you.
Okay, Sour. Right. I will have to. I've written some of it down already, just to speed up the process. I've written half of it down there, so as I'm going along, I'll be putting the answers to it to make it a bit more flowing. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a newly changed name.
I like
it. We've called it the Esoteric Lounge. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We might even change that. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. So for the people that weren't here last week, or for the people that were here last week, and either was too busy in the chat having a good time, or that they didn't quite get exactly what I was trying to get to, I will quickly, just for the first 5 minutes, go briefly over what I talked about last week, because it just links everything together. Can everyone hear, first of all, before I start babbling on?
Someone says yes.
Okay, that's good then. Right, well, last week I delved into the primal vowel forces, which were the A, E, I, O, and U, with the exception of the Y, which is a vowel if it's actually in a word and not the start of a word. It's a secret vowel that we're probably not taught really much about, but if you do Google it, you can find that it says it is part of the mainstream, even though that we don't really acknowledge it. The archetypes for motion, each of the vowels have a separate force. So the A was a sound of a command of ascension, of rising, something that was going upwards. The opposite of that was the downward force of the I. If you can imagine, when you write an I, you put your point in and then you draw it downwards. That will always be a downward sound when you pronounce the I in the vowel. It also means it could be inwards as well as downwards. The expression for anchoring, and that was for the I as well. It was about having a foundation. Oh, right. Is that Jenny Thong? Is that Eric? Is he? How can he be Jenny Thong then if he's not? Yeah, I was going to say he's not hidden. Well,
That's okay. I'll deal with it.
Welcome in, Jenny. Welcome in.
This is my time to be the sniper.
Yeah, exactly. Well done. So yes, we'll finish off the vowels. The O was the solid center. It was the connection to source. The U was a structure and the wholeness of a building or a container. Now, these words are quite important, and I'll be writing these down as we go along, so you've got it in your mind. The Y is a union. If you just even look at the letter Y, it's two going into one, joining. And the E is the motion of a path or extension. So it's a movement in or out, backwards or forwards. It's a motion of transition as well. So yes, it's where the Y is when all the forces have joined together. That's why you get it at the end of the word mainly. It encompasses the word, like beauty. If it's just a beaut, it's still beautiful, but you're saying it's a singular beautiful thing, whereas beauty combines everything. the Y at the end, embraces everything. So this then brings us to the other, because there's 29 words and we've used up 6 already. So we now need to go into the other 23 of the sounds, the consonants, and these are known as the dust and the shadows, creating static containers that obscure the vowel's power. Now, we've had more consonants added to our words for no reason in the past. Some of the words we write down but say differently. Some of the words are said the same but are spelt differently. They all have a hidden power behind them. So when we want to talk, we want to realize what we are actually, the powers of the words we are actually saying when we're saying it, to be very mindful. I've stopped saying the word nice just because I know that previously the word was meant the complete opposite of what we use today. Now that still holds a power because I understand where it came from. And I see this world as quite an inverted world in many ways. And I think it fits in quite well. And it hides itself in plain sight. It's one of the many words that we use constantly every day. Yet it had a completely different meaning. So let's go into the other 23 words. Now, my own little mission tonight is to reverse the fall, and it's a case of breaking down, like a decoding, every single word. Now, of course, we're not going to break down every single word, but what we're going to do instead is break down the rest of the alphabet and their individual letters with their meanings. So it gives a description of the actual word with the vibration that you are pronouncing through your mouth. Now, the 29 sounds are not just an alphabet. It's a mathematical matrix, a geometric map that is encoded within the human mouth, like I was saying. This system compromises of three core principles to having to decode it. Now, the first one is that every single letter and sound has a fixed meaning. Not only does it have a fixed meaning, it has one geometrical and universal fixed meaning. The sound itself is the actual concept. Now, this might go over your head just by the words of what I've said, but you will see it straight away when you start breaking it down for yourself. Hello, Phoenix. Love you too. The second important part of the decoding is the position of the sound. Now, we don't even realize how we pronounce the words, but there are 3 different parts of the mouth that we produce and project from. We have the sounds from the front of the mouth. We have the sounds from the middle of the mouth. And we also have the sounds from the very back of the mouth. The front of the mouth is defined as the labial axis. Now, that encourages the body, the mass, and limits. Anything to do with those three things will come from the front of the mouth. From the middle of the mouth is the lingual axis, which means movement, action, or a relationship with. These will all become apparent when we start saying the words. From the sounds from the back of the mouth is defined as the guttural. Now, the guttural is probably one of the crucial, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that in itself. The three most crucial vowel commands. The 23 consonants are static containers and objects. So not only are they objects of a kind, they also have where it comes from in the mouth. These two parts that make the word just from the letter. So when we're breaking down the consonants, there's the core 15, I shall say. Now, it's structured into three structures. It likes its three structures. It's like a trinity. There always seems to be a trinity in decoding. You have the three different parts of the mouth, which defines the meaning within the geometric of the matrix itself. The labial, the lingual, and the guttural. So that's the lips at the front, that's the tongue in the middle, and that's the throat at the back. Three completely different ways that we produce sounds. Therefore, they will have three completely different powers that will they have assigned to those individual consonants. So we're going to start off with the front of the mouth, the labial sounds. These would be the letters B for Bertie, M for mother, P for Peter, F for Fibonacci, because I know you like that very much.
Good luck
And
with that.
V for Victor, and V for Victor. Now, I'm just going to flip the screen. I believe I can do that somehow. Right. So I have to flip it because I just didn't write it backwards, unfortunately.
Right.
So we have the A, E, I, O, U above here, which is our vowels. We have the A, which is ascension, which is always going upwards. We have E, which is extension, which is going outwards and inwards, backwards and forwards, a transition of one thing to another. We have the I, that is an inner and a downward force. We have the O, which is source and wholeness. We have U, which is a container or a boundary. And we have Y, which is like nexus, which is union, where joinings happen. So when it comes to, let me put that over there. So when it comes to B, anything with a B word will have something to do with it being bulky or a building. So have that in mind. M is also for, M is for container, or also a mass. Okay. Now P is for a point or a limit. I'm going to have to do something about this in a sec. F. F is for flow or force. Okay, we'll just put flow on for now. I might have to just turn this over for a sec. There we go. V is for vessel. Or vitality. Okay. This brings us to the linguistic, which you can see there is D, L, N, S, R, and T. You can only make these words with your tongue. If you didn't have use of your tongue, you would not be able to produce any of these words. When you have a lisp, it's because your tongue doesn't perform a way to produce the S or the T's or the R's. The Chinese can't pronounce the R's, they say L's instead. They only have the capability of making a sound with their mouth. And it's very hard for them to say a R. It becomes a L. So, with this in mind, each of these have their own distinctive, I would say, their own individual strength. So D is for divide. It also means to split, which is a divide. So we'll stick with divide. L means for line or path. N, by looking at the words, by looking at the letter, it means to join. It's a joiner. It connects two things together, the N. The S means source or flow, yet again, like the S. Like the F, it means flow or source. R means rotation. Or resonance. And T, just by looking at T, it means termination. you can see there's a line and it stops and it goes no further. That's termination or the end. That brings us to the guttural. Now, the G sound is the sound of generate and grow. So let's put grow. The K, we'll come back to K. We'll jump straight to J. J is the representing junction or join again, but we'll put junction. H is the sound of hole or source. It's the void. H is the void. Now, let's just put that down. The void. So that brings us to K. K is the most sacred sound in all of the language. It's a hidden K. We have hidden Ks, and it's all about K is the key, the code. Okay. Even though that we have a C, it's pronounced K. Yeah, code. And a lot of people get that, you know, especially if you're dyslexic, when you're trying to say a word out and you instantly put a K down because you're sounding it out in your head. This is how, you know, it gets. I think they manipulated it for that specific reason as well. So we now have pretty much all of the letters together, except there are 8 more. Now, to complete the 29 of this sound matrix, we have what's called the 8 secondary sounds. Now, these are W, X, Z, Q, and then we have 3 composite vessels of 2 of the letters together to making a sound of their own. Let me just put this on. So, the W is the sound for wideness or wholeness. So that's wideness. X. Now X is the sound of crossing or extremity. The point where lines intersect or the concepts diverge. Now I can think of one word that's got an X in it. It's got an E in it. It's got an S in it. And definitely 2 things converge. They diverge together. So we put that as a cross, as in you cross paths. The Z is the sound of 0. and zenith, a point of an absolute beginning or absolute end. Q is the sound of a query or quest. Now we come to the triad, the three that remain. The triad of friction, as they say. These are a combination of sounds of the ch, the sh, and the th. And these represent high friction movements along the path. The ch sound is a chasm. Or primal source. The sh is a shift or a shearing, which means a gentle division, a shift from one thing to another. The st, the st, my mistake. The th is the sound of thrust or thought. It's a direct, focused of force. And then we have, right at the very end, GH, which is a sound that represents the ghost or gateway. A transition period between physical and the spiritual axis. So we'll put a gate. So if we just zoom back on that, we can see it pretty much in full. It's all broken down. Now, each letter, they're fixed. Each of these describe what that each fixed letter has their own value. Now, when the word is combined with the vowel to give it power, it then creates the word and the image of the word within its name. Now, I will quickly, if everyone has got a screenshot of that, if they need to anymore, I will be doing this at myself actually and putting it on my channel. But let's just make a bit of room. Now, I'm going to put down a few words and we will go through each individual one. So, let me start off with this. Let's see if Adam was paying attention. We shall see. If I was to write the word love, how can we break this down? Well, the L over here is the path. So this is the path. The line. Okay. Now we know O above is wholeness. The V is a vessel. And E is an extension or movement. So when we actually say the word love, we are saying it is a path that is centered on wholeness, and it contains within a vessel of vitality, which is then extended with movement. Which is a great breakdown of the word itself, almost to its microscopic level. We take another similar word, but we'll say the opposite. War. We know that W is wholeness and wideness. It has an A for extension, so it's open, but this is openly violent. When you open something violently. And the R is returning back to its cycle. They say the only way that they can make peace is by going to war. And you will never have, it will always be in a cycle of never-ending war without peace.
True.
We'll pick one more word. Knowledge. We'll take the most three important words. No. The K is the key, the code. The N is the joining of the key. O is source, the center. We get our knowledge from source. It's the key that joins us by getting the knowledge. I've got a couple more, just a couple more, just so it all kind of fits together. We have the simple word torch. The T is a termination. the center, a terminal. It's a terminal point. The O, again, is wholeness. The R is rotation. Or it's also radiates. Yeah. So we use the radiation, the radiate, in this sense. The C, I've rubbed that off. Where were we? The C. The C was, where are we? Well, it was the CH, of course, wasn't it? That's why I'm looking for the C. The CH down here is chasm, which means the primordial source. So breaking down the word itself, you have a central terminal point centered on wholeness that radiates continuous movement from a primal source, which completely explains what a torch does. It radiates its wholeness, its light, from a terminal position outwards from its source. One last word to break down. Mind. The M is the container. The I is the inner. The N, again, is the joiner. And the D is the divine, the divide. So our mind holds all our thoughts. It's the container. The I is the intent and the inner thoughts that when joined together, we then can divide and use our discernment. The container of our integrity that connects and divides the concepts for analytic and discernment. And that is our mind.
I like that one.
Let me flip this back. There we go.
Guys, do you have any questions for Sniper?
I can't see many. Have I blown everyone's brains?
Let's see. Well, Mint says that he couldn't comment because he was cooking some food. Percolated Fish says the great I am. Sissy says all of it is fascinating.
I am indeed.
Hey, Sanskrit and Hebrew.
Yeah.
Same principle?
Now, this is not mainstream. Mainstream won't want to touch this at all whatsoever, because this then has a narrative of its own, that the Scandinavian, the Norwegian, the Finn, and the Swedish, and the English were the first spoken words. They won't have that. They won't have that. So they put the Sumerian first. Sumerian was the first language that has ever been written down as the narrative. And everything is worked from there. And English was one of the very last words to be spoken. Now, I say that this world is inverted and reversed. And so if we've been taught it's the last language, yet it's the most spoken worldwide, spoken the most worldwide, yet we are told it's the last language pretty much to be created in the last 400 years.
Adam wants to know, is it possibly connected to speaking in tongues?
I think that no, I think speaking in tongues is a very primordial language that I think came after the breaking down of the actual cataclysm first of all, and we had to then remember, which then started off our individual languages. I think every language started off in tongues from a very, very, early basis.
Do you think all sounds from the tip of the tongue, the back of the throat, do you think they developed simultaneously, or do you think they developed individually? Do you think we first spoke in guttural?
No, I think it was all three. I think we had that. The amount of dialects that we have, if you look at German, it's very guttural.
Right.
And where we go in the world, the accents change through how much guttural we produce. We still have the same amount of vowels and words in our alphabet, but we change them from the back of the mouth to the front of the mouth, or to the middle of the mouth. What was
Adam
this?
says,
What was that?
do you see the question? So in essence, this is a breakdown of the Platonic geometry of sound?
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that.
Hey, Joshua.
Mint, who invented the alphabet? Well, the English alphabet, the one that I've just said. All of these letters here are in the Finnish alphabet as well, which is where we get our alphabet from. Now, the words that we have used have been bastardized through Latin, Germanic, and a lot will say that a lot of it is Norse. The English, a lot of Danish.
Do you think
The
English
Danish
is
can
the...
speak English very well. They can pick it up very well, the Danish.
you think English is one of the only languages that has such a mixture of foreign words in it?
Yes, and you have to wonder why.
You have a theory on that?
Yeah, because I think it was the first language, and it has always been the main language. And I think everything has come from the English. I think it's completely the back way of what we've been taught. But that's my own personal opinion. You know, sue me.
Got a pinned comment from
Hey, Josh, you all right, man? Good to see you, mate. Let's see the push. Does the Finnish alphabet have more letters? Yes, it does.
Does the Finnish alphabet have more letters than English?
It's got 3 more letters, but it's the sounds that it creates. I don't speak Finnish. I don't speak any Scandinavian. But I just find that how the words have been presented, and they each have their own fixed meaning. Like I was explaining to you, there was a few other words I put to you earlier. You know, we could do some random ones if anyone's got a word, and we could break it down.
Yes, actually. See if I can find it. Adam says irreverent.
Where are we?
I'll pin it for you.
Yeah, go on. Save me finding it. Irrelevant. Well, we can have a go.
Are you ready to do that? Or can you answer one question real quick?
Yeah, go on then.
Min wants to know, why did the Welsh have their own language?
Why did the Welsh have their own language? That's a very good question.
I thought so too.
Now, we have to realise that before the 15th century, 80% of the UK was Welsh. Scotland had their own little part up in Scotland, but majority of Scotland was still Welsh. They had their own way of doing things. And I think, just like everything, over the time, Wales has been pushed back and back and back and back and back. So they've just had their little corner of Wales from the River Severn, basically. And that's their border. You then go on a bridge from England to Wales, and you're in Wales, whereas before Wales was all the way up to pretty much London at the time. It's very colloquial, very ancient. You can actually read and translate Egyptian hieroglyphics with the ancient Welsh.
I've heard you mention that before.
Yeah. So whether or not the English, because of this catastrophe that happened, the Welsh language was so jumbled up that they pretty much had to start again. And if they were one of the first civilizations after the cataclysm, don't forget, we're talking Druids and earlier on at that point, who would have also been told sagas, because everything was spoken, not so much written, and it was always handed down to female, because they're the ones that will produce another child to hand the saga down to. So it would always be from grandmother to mother to either son or daughter, or it would go straight to daughter. But being with the Box saga, it ran out of lineage, and that's why it came to present. Ivor Bock was the last of his his kind, his lineage.
I'm going to pin a comment by Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan. Hi, Duncan. You're right. Let's have a look. I was under the impression that the alphabet was created as a precise notic for helic reverse, verse and oral recitation to help memorize poems. Well, language was, I mean, words were created to describe everything, you know, and I think once we had the passion to describe things, that's when art and writing came into it. Yeah, I think it was created for that as well, but it has a precise meaning for each and every letter. If you take this of what I propose, you know, if you were to dissect any word, it would break it down and it would show you the word's own individual description and powers within its own self. You know, I'm just looking at the word billion. You know, it just pops into mind. The B, of course, is a boundary or bulk. Can't get much more bulkier than a billion, can you?
Sure.
You know, the L's are lines and paths. The I's are inwards. So you're investing. Nice cup of latte. Look at that. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Brian, I appreciate that.
You know, so breaking it down. So let's have a look at this word irrelevant. Now, of course, we use the Latin as well, and we break the words down into groups of words. Irrelevant, you know, but we're talking about the individual letters here that make up the word. So irrelevant, obviously we're starting with an I, so it's an inwards. So we're looking, it's going to be backwards in itself, which is almost what irrelevant means anyway. It's not going forwards. It's not going to help you go forwards. It's irrelevant. Therefore, it's behind you in that sense. The R's are going to be rotational things. So you're just going to be going round and round in circles. Therefore, it will become irrelevant. E gives it a motion and a movement. The V is a vessel, if I remember rightly. So you've got a vessel in the middle. Either side of the vessel is your movement. You've got the rotation of an inward, and the N joins the T. So joining it all together, the T would be the termination and the end. So when it's being irrelevant, you're not going to use it.
Right. As Seth said, he thinks the word was irreverent.
Irreverent.
Yes. And
Right,
Duncan wants to know, how old is the English language, English alphabet?
Well, we are only told what we're told, you know, it, from Shakespeare, going back further than that, we were speaking Old English. Now, some say that we were using Old English for much, much longer than what it was actually recorded. So to give you a factual answer on that, I couldn't. The Latin, of course, was translated from the Greek. And a lot of our words we use in English, half of them are Greek and half of them are Latin. We use the meanings for some of the Greek and some of the Latin, but not the both, because they are two different. The Latin and the Greek sometimes have a different description of the same word, yet you're supposed to know that Latin all came from Greek. So that tells you one thing, is that I believe there are some truths that are still remaining hidden within the Greek, and they have been carefully replaced with Latin descriptions to hide the truth, being Greek was much older.
It's
But
been
yet
said
again,
that
the story of the Bok says that these are all of the Greek mythology and the Roman stories that we heard are all fractions and fractals of the original story that was the start of vocal speech.
it's been said that Sanskrit, ancient language, contains the essence of the thing it speaks of. If you say mango in Sanskrit, it contains the essence of a mango. You think that's
Of a
true in
man.
any other language?
I think with the hieroglyphics as well. I think because you're visually you're having to translate an image into a word, and it's the story behind the word itself. Well, it's his story is the male version, but the
True.
female version is the miss story. The mystery has been taken away and the history has been put in place. And that was when Mother Nature was taken over and replaced with mankind. When everything was man-made.
Right.
We put a
We
label on everything.
definitely lost something with that. I was showing a book to Adam, uh, The Flowering Wand, Rewilding the Sacred Masculine. And of course, to have the sacred masculine means you have to embrace the sacred feminine. That
Yeah, absolutely. Divine
basically,
feminine. I mean, that's what it's all about, is finding balance. You can't have one without the other.
right? Basically, the
I
yin
think
yang.
that's where empathy comes into it. Is your divine feminine being a man. And vice versa with a female. When they show empathy, it's the male form of the strength coming through.
Mint's got a question, and then we'll probably wrap it up if you don't mind.
Yeah. Is
Let
there
me
any artifacts that show the original language as it once was written in Latin and English? Well, the church, everything was written in Latin. It was all spoken in Latin. And supposedly, if you had nothing to do with the church and you read Latin, you were deemed someone that shouldn't be part of the church. Only those that were associated with the church could read Latin out aloud. And I think that was quite important because at the time they would only really teach what they wanted to teach at the time for what was necessary at the time. And we're talking, the time of the heretics, the time of the up and coming Inquisition. Again, this was all to do with dowsing as well, and everything was not necessarily being given by the church. People were finding other ways in the world and not necessarily deemed from the church. They were finding their own way.
Steve's comment.
So you had to speak Latin to be able to join the church. That's how. Well, not to join the church, but to be a part of the church, as in promoting the church. You would be in church listening to the Latin, but not understanding what they were saying. Because you didn't speak Latin. You spoke Old English.
Right. Interesting. Sissy had mentioned if there's going to be a part 3.
There could be. I've actually this afternoon I was working on something completely different, and that was all about clearing energies. I was thinking of Salma, and so I've done a whole long thing about clearing energies and
Like that.
protecting yourself. So I'm hoping Salma will watch that video that I'm going to do for her.
Awesome. You up for doing a all-inclusive Ask Sniper?
Yeah.
Let me know when you want to do that, and it'll be, any esoteric
Pick
direction.
Pick my brain.
Yep, that could be the title. Squirrel Sniper's Esoteric Lounge. Pick Sniper's brain.
Pick my brain. Yeah, definitely. I'm up for that. Get yourself thinking. Well, I'm going to jump in the chat. You can say your goodbyes.
All right. Sniper, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, the Esoteric Lounge, off to a great start. I like the name change.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Mint says, I was looking forward to next one. Me too. I always look forward to Sniper. Welcome back, Adam. We're wrapping things up. I'm going to say goodnight. Join us again next week. I think we're probably going to stick with Wednesdays, right? And that's going to be the Esoteric Lounge. Richard says, I've enjoyed this live and the interesting topic at hand. Sniper brings it. He certainly does. Tomorrow, let's see. Mitchell says, I thought I saw the red-headed stranger. Wasn't here. Let's see. Brandon says, well, take care and have a tendency to always catch you at the end. It's okay, Brandon. So tomorrow, regular live stream at 5 in the morning, talking Course Miracles and stuff. Tomorrow afternoon is Beth Gear. And we're going to be talking Course Miracles and maybe some stuff, you can answer some questions. Her second book was about learning a deeper meaning of the Course of Miracles through her interaction with extraterrestrials and angels. So that could be interesting. I'm in the Eastern U.S., Eastern Standard Time, Brandon. You're in Florida, right? I go to bed early. Friday, got another Julie who was here yesterday popping up in the chat. She's going to come up. She's going to have a special guest, by the way. So my guest is going to have a special guest. And then Monday we have Martin, and I can't remember his last name, but he's a meditation teacher and Course in Miracles student teacher. So we're going to have fun. Yep, makes it simple. Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to see everyone, hopefully, tomorrow, right? Love you guys.